Hello everybody, this is Iced Blood. Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. It's dungeon time. We're going to be doing the Sastasha Seagrot today. That's going to be the entire focus of the video. We're going to do a dungeon run. We're going to turn in the quest that we got to go to the dungeon, and that's going to be pretty much it. Now, admittedly, there's not going to be much in the way of storytelling during the dungeon itself. This is just a brief introduction to group content, like a slight step up from the guild hests, but honestly there's not much in the way of complexity here. We're just going to join a few other people and kill a bunch of things in a grotto that's been infested with pirates. And that's it. That's basically it. Sorry, spoilers, we're not supposed to know that there are pirates here yet, but it's okay, they're here. So instead of going into a detailed play-by-play of what's going on, I'm just gonna spitball for a while, to be honest with you. We got, let's see what we've got here. Looks like we have ourselves a Lancer, and that's our other DPS. You can tell by the color of their icon there on the top left. We got the Lancer, that's another damage dealer like we are. We have an Arcanist, who's our healer, and then our tank is a Marauder, it looks like. And so that's basically how this is going to work. Just the tank's going to gather everyone's attention, healer's going to make sure we don't die, and then I and the Lancer here are just going to help kill things, and that's it. So right now, I figured I'd just take this time to delve into a little bit of what I talked about when the series first started, some storytelling. First off, I have actually a little anecdote. You might notice if you take a look at the bottom right corner of the screen, Ellion's money has changed quite a bit from last time. That is not due to off-camera grinding. That's actually... someone was just feeling generous, I suppose. Here's what happened. I was kind of doing some exploring. I wanted to grab an actual healing spell, which I have. You can see on the left on the left set of keys there. Looks like left A. I'm not good with these buttons. Yeah, left A. I wanted a healing spell just in case. Now this dungeon's not that hard. We don't have to worry about that. The healer we have is going to be fine. But I picked up a healing spell from the Arcanist, because that's another spellcaster that I have never really gotten into, and from what I understand, their spells, at least their healing spell, is usable as a black mage, which is not true of the healing spell you get as a conjurer. So I figured, hey, let's do that. Let's start the Arcanist. Hold on a second. I need to get this. There we go. Here we go. Yeah. Our level has been synced, which means that I don't have access to Thunder 2. It's not very useful right now, so we'll go back to normal Thunder. Anyway, what I'm saying is, I was starting out the Arcanist job. I didn't want to really, record that because there wasn't much in the way of detail as far as what I was doing. I just got the job out in Limsa, and I got the spell. It wasn't that hard, just did some quests, and that was it. But I'm still what would apparently be considered a new player on this particular account, because it hasn't been that long. I mean, I've had it for a few months now, but I'm still, I guess, at the time this happened, I was still flagged as a new player. At the very least, that's my theory. It could also just be that I was a low-level Arcanist. I was like level 3 or something like that. And somebody started following me. Now, I thought this was a little strange. I was like, why would somebody want to just party up with me randomly? I have something of a policy, generally speaking. If someone just passes me a random invite, I'm not going to accept it. If someone whispers me, slightly different story, but I don't like random invites because there's a lot of spam that I end up involved with in this game in particular. It's pretty notorious. We've seen it throughout the series so far. I get a lot of whispers and a lot of ads for Gil and things. So random correspondence, not interested. Not going to do it. So I did that. I just went with my usual policy and I didn't accept the invite to the party. But this character kept following me. I was wondering what was going on, but eventually they whispered me. It says, hey, wait up. So then, oh, okay. They want to actually interact. Alright, that's a little different. So I stopped. And they just opened up a trade window and gave me 200,000 gil. That's it. Just randomly. Didn't ask for anything. Didn't talk to them at all, really. I mean, I thanked them. I mean, you know, be polite and everything. But other than that, that's all that happened. It was just a random act of kindness. And I feel like it's important to, like, celebrate those. And I really wish I'd written down the name of the character that did this for me. But whomever you are, if you happen to one day watch this and you remember the little Lalafell Arcanist that you gave 200,000 gil to, whose name happened to be Ellion, thank you. Thank you very much. That was very nice of you and helped out a lot because I spent far too much money buying a suit for cutscenes because I'm weird. But I feel like it's important to celebrate that kind of activity, that kind of, like, what do you want to call that, philanthropy, I guess, because, like, there's a kind of a, there's a reputation for, like, high-level players in MMOs in general, at least as far as I've been able to tell, where high-level characters, people who've been playing for a while, aren't exactly very nice to newcomers. This is particularly true with raiding and dungeon crawling in general. Newer players who may still be making mistakes, myself included. I'm not exactly what you'd call an expert in this kind of stuff. I'm just kind of going along by the skin of my teeth and hoping for the best, and so far nobody's died, so, you know, there's that. But there's a lot. There's that reputation of high-level, like, elite players not being very accommodating or kind to newcomers. And so when someone does something like just hands out money to somebody for no reason, just to be nice, like, that's really important to remember. This is not a genre that only attracts assholes. Okay, we have to remember that. It's very important because there is a certain reputation for MMO players being, like, you know, standoffish loners who don't really deal with other people. That's why we play games like this. That's not true. There's actually a very pronounced sense of community in games like this, or at least there's the potential for that. And I feel like someone just randomly coming up to me and giving me money to help me out, like, that's an example of that. Someone was just trying to be nice, and, like, that's really, really cool. It flies in the face of all those stereotypes and really helps to kind of establish the community that's involved in games like this. You know, we get a lot of examples of people that do shitty things online, and it's important to remember that nice things happen too. You know, the internet's, like, probably the most revolutionary invention humankind has ever come up with. We're more global now than we ever were, and because there's really no barrier to entry anymore, because there really isn't, it's really easy to get online. Even if you don't have internet at home, you can pretty much access it somewhere. I mean, you know, I would say the majority of people have access to the internet. And so, since there's that low barrier to entry, there's really, how to phrase this, it's very easy to kind of get a sample of every type of person that's alive right now. You know, every demographic is pretty much represented online. So you get a lot of assholes, but you know what? You get a lot of nice people too. The internet is everything good and everything bad about humanity condensed into one medium, I feel like. And that extends to MMORPGs. So we're in the first boss now. This is actually the first boss, and it's just a coral, I think it's called. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it's a this monster you might see people riding around if you're playing the game, because that's the mount that you get, or one of the mounts you get for pre-ordering. Or was it pre-ordering, or was it the collector's edition? Collector's edition, that's what it is. If you get the collector's edition, or you upgrade to the digital collector's edition, whichever you prefer, or whichever you happen to get, you'll get access to a mount of this particular creature. It's a nice bit of different... Although, we haven't even seen our first mount, the default mount, so... I suppose it's not worth it to really talk about it now, but... yeah, corals are cool. So, first bit of dungeon loot. Not useful for me. So I'm going to pass on that. I don't know if that's standard dungeon etiquette, where if you can't use something, you automatically pass, but I do. If I can use something, I will hit need, because chances are it'll be an upgrade. I don't have a lot of high-level gear, but if I don't need it, if it's not for the class that I'm on, then I'll pass, and someone else can get hold of it. So, the other part about this video that I wanted to get into, because, you know, there's not much complexity to this dungeon, like I said before. It's just killing a bunch of things and living through it, and that's about it. We're going through halls, we're killing monsters, we're going to find some pirates soon. There's going to be a little cutscene toward the end for the last boss, but other than that, there's not really much going on here. So, I wanted to talk about something that I tend to do with my MMO characters that I'm really not sure how many people do this. I'm hoping it's a lot more than I tend to think, because my experience with MMO players, not a lot of people do this. Ooh, the tank is being strategic. All right, we'll follow their lead. Start with 1, and then go to 2, and then go to 3. So yeah, if your tank marks, or the leader of the dungeon, whomever it happens to be, marks targets, just make sure to follow their lead, just to make things simpler. I want to talk about character development. Now, MMOs are built to be universal, right? Everyone experiences the same story and the same content, and it's kind of hard to let a character feel unique because of how many people tend to play an MMORPG. Thousands of people are experiencing this content. And how is it that you can make someone feel unique when they know that thousands of others are experiencing the exact same story? Now, it's easier with single-player experiences because, well, yeah, we know that thousands of people are playing those games too, but the experience is... Ooh, that one's actually a little closer to what I need, but still not my class. That was for a conjurer, I think. But we are not a conjurer, so we're not going to get that. Oh, looks like we're just doing numbers from now on. Alright. Well, as you wish. I assume it's the tank doing that. Okay, so character development. How do we make an MMO character feel unique? Well, a lot of the times it comes down to two things in the mechanics themselves. The name and the appearance. And that's pretty much it. One of the first things that I was excited about in this particular game is the fact that I was able to give my character a last name. I have 2 names for my character. That's so exciting because I'm a WoW player. You know, that's where most of my time with MMOs have been, and I can't give myself a last name in World of Warcraft unless I get a mod, and that mod doesn't necessarily feel the same thing. That it's not in the game's mechanics themselves, so it feels like cheating almost. But other than that, other than changing your character's appearance and maybe picking out certain sets of gear or whatever, your name is basically all you're able to give your character. You don't have a chance to give them personality. Not technically. But I do that. I still do it. Even though there's no real way to showcase a character's personality, other than, I guess, if you're role-playing, like literally role-playing, like when you hit the chat box, you talk as though you are your character and maybe interact with other players that are into it, kind of thing. Like, that's a cool thought, but I've never really done that. A lot of my stuff that I tend to do is pretty, I guess I would call it inside, right? It's behind the scenes. So what kind of person is Ellion Shavara? Well, so far in the story, all we really know from the game itself is he's a newcomer to Eorzea. He's an adventurer. And we got a chance to really kind of talk about him and his motives. In the first cutscene, we were able to say, you know, what are you here for? Well, I'm here for power. And is this your first trip to Ul'dah? Well, at that time, yes, it was. And there's a few other things that we got to do like that. But what else is there? What have I effectively determined is unique about Ellion? And to be honest, since there's been a lot of time since I've had this character, this is the same character I've had since the beta, I've had a lot of time to think about that. And it's pretty simple. He is an absent-minded professor, basically. or an inventor, or however you want to. He's a weird, like, ADHD scholar. It basically is how I look at it. Effectively, he has no attention span, but, and this is the fun part, because you have to kind of explain how your character is great at what they do, because the way that an RPG is set up, especially one like this, is you are a badass. That's just how it goes. You're awesome, and you are chosen to do things that normal people can't do. That's what we're doing right now. We're investigating the Seagrot because normal people can't survive in here. Normal people can't handle the pirates. Normal people can't handle the denizens that live here, the animals and stuff like that. We can't expect them to do it. We have to do it because we're special. We're badass. We're awesome. We're heroes. We're adventurers. We've been chosen by the crystal, and etc., etc. So if my idea of a character concept for Ellion is that he's pretty much absent-minded and has no attention span whatsoever, how can I explain why he's a badass? Well, I tend to think of him as a savant. When he does focus, he's really, really good at whatever he does. Now, something I'm planning to do with this character is to unlock all of the different classes. Not just the fighting classes, but all of the crafting and all of the gathering professions that are available. I'm going to get those for him, because I have this image in my head that he is literally a jack of all trades. But, more so, a king of all trades, because he's awesome at everything he does. Okay, that's the idea, because I'm not going to stop at like level 20 or 15 or whatever and just call it good. I'm going to get to max level with all of these. And chances are I'm going to get to max level with the crafting and gathering professions before I hit max level with another combat class. Just because they seem to be a little easier to handle than combat classes. Because, of course, combat classes involve fighting monsters. And the experience you get from fighting monsters is decent. But a lot of it is from quests. That's a lot of the way that you get your first class up to 50 is by doing quests. The main scenario in particular. Nope. More gear we don't need. But anyway, I think of Ellion as the sort that is very inconspicuous in terms of his expertise. By which I mean, you'd look at him and the way he tends to act, which is very excitable and very innocent, naive even, ignorant, dense, whatever you want to say. You'd look at him and think, oh, he's crazy. He's a mental case. Seriously, what is this guy's problem? He can't sit still for longer than 4 seconds at a time, and he's not wearing any pants, and why are we dealing with this guy? That's the sort of image that he projects, generally speaking. But that's the initial impression that he gets from other people the first time he visits someplace. So I have this image of this little Lalafell who just wanders around the world, and everybody has this idea that he's crazy. He's out there, he's touched in the head. But I have this image of respected scholars or craftsmen or any other kind of merchants or even guards and soldiers, people that know him treat him with a fair amount of respect because he is a master at the different trades and activities and various things that he puts his time toward. So, already, he's established himself so far as an adventurer worth trusting. The government of Ul'dah understands that he is very capable and he can be trusted to do certain things. So, they already know. The other city-states kind of know, primarily because I guess General Raban, being who he is, he has put his faith in Ellion, so the other leaders of the other city-states are like, okay, well, if he trusts him, I guess I will too. And then, that kind of stuff. You've got that going. But I also picture, people in, the merchants' circles knowing who he is. Because, the ultimate image I have of Ellion is that he is a master craftsman. Right? And I'm talking all of them. Carpentry, leatherworking, tailoring, alchemy, and the various other ones that I know there's a few more. Like, all of those. I'm going to get him to level 50 on all of those, and he'll be, like, one of the best craftsmen that any of these, like, guilds and circles have ever seen. That's the image I have. And so, like, that gives a story reason for focusing on a single character, because normally my tendency is to make a different character for a different setup. So I'm like, okay, I want a blacksmith. Well, Ellion's a little guy. He probably wouldn't be a blacksmith, so I'm going to make a Rogadin blacksmith because they're big and strong and they can handle that kind of labor. Screw that. Let's just let's make it a singular thing. Let's hone in on one character. And you know what? The idea of a tiny little diminutive blacksmith is kind of funny to me. So I'll run with it. I like it. But I have to have an explanation for it. And that's it for now, because we have a cutscene here. What's going on? This is the last boss. Let's see. You sully your spawning grounds, etc., etc. I can't control with the text here, so I have to kind of go with it. So, this is the... Oh boy. Here we go. Finlish food. Okay, got it. Got it. So this creature does not like humanoids. Or fleshy... flesh things? I don't know how to phrase it. But okay, so he doesn't like humans or Lalafels or anything like that. Well, we don't like you either, Den the Orca Tooth? I can't read that. Yeah. Anyway, alright, well, here we go then. This is the last boss of the dungeon. So look at that. So this is the kind of thing I mean, though, like, he's obviously capable, he's obviously trustworthy, he's handling monsters that normal people can't handle. Because, like, when you think about it, try and picture what it'd be like trying to fight this monster on your own. Just as even as just a single adventurer, like, it would be impossible. He does too much damage. You need a healer. You need multiple people to do damage. Yeah. Oh, Orca Tooth. Yeah. Okay, we got it. All right. Excellent. I always like to know the names of things that I'm murdering, because at least then I get to respect their memory properly, or something. So. Nope, I think there are more, but he's really close to dying, so let's ignore them. And there we go. Oh, sweet. Well, that was simple enough. You have been defeated. Haha! Victory! Yay! So, there we go. That's the first dungeon. That's it. I will say something to the party. Let's see. There we go. Let them know. First dungeon in a while. We did awesome. And then, got a couple things. Where's the? Oh, there it is. So can we give commendation? There we go. We'll give a player commendation to the tank. And no, I don't need that. Okay. There we go. He gets himself, looks like a new lake piece. So there we go. Alright, so the dungeon's over. Ellion has proven his worth to another adventurer's guild. So now we have to prove it. We gotta go back, to the guild in Limsa and let the bartender guy, whose name I can't remember, know that we were victorious. Let's see, can we... Oh, that was a dragoon. Hell yeah. I do have another character on this particular, on this account, that I have a plan for him to be a dragoon. He's a Makote, whom I've named Sky Tiger. And the idea for this guy is effectively he is Ellion's bodyguard. Like, Ellion hires him to be his muscle, to be intimidating and imposing and you know, guard his back and all that kind of stuff. And I figure, like, they'll start out just purely, like, employer-employee, but eventually they'll come to trust each other. And then eventually, like, Sky will be the only person who can really understand how Ellion is, because no one else really knows how to interact with him, because the stuff he says is... Like, this guy, I figure he's literally the type to be, like, talking to somebody about something very important and go, ooh, a squirrel! And just, like, go off completely. And I figure Sky is the character that keeps him on task. So everybody kind of knows, okay, let's talk to this one, because this one knows how to get the little one to do what we need. So that's kind of the idea that I have, and he's going to be my dragoon. And eventually I'm gonna start leveling him in earnest. I found out recently that the iconic stuff, the iconic gear, so that dragoon armor that guy was wearing, you actually get it through the major quest line, the main quest line. So I'm gonna really jump in on that because the dragoon armor is fucking awesome. Here we go. We're back. We won. We were victorious. Aye, such a task was on the books. Was, mind. I'm afraid that ship's already sailed, friend. Yep, it's my fault. Hi! I stole your job. Ah, might you be the adventurer who accepted the job of investigating Sastasha? Bitch, I might be. It would seem that ship has not only sailed, but now returns to harbor. None the worse for its voyage. A pity. We dragged our boots too long on this one. No matter. The wheel will turn and our chance will come. You're right, of course. But there shall be no rest till we've attained our goal, lofty though it may be. Not a wink of sleep, great leader. Our aim, lest you wonder, is to perform such feats of heroism as will earn us a place in the songs of every alehouse in Eorzea. We mean to write a legend which will inspire adventurers as yet unborn to follow our shining example. Do you have such a goal? Large or small, it matters not. Only have a star to reach for, and you will reach higher. Purpose can sustain you through times of hardship. Keep your eye on the prize, and all obstacles will be overcome in time. You'd not think to stride into battle unclad, would you? Well, goals are as arms and armor for the spirit. I wish you fortune in your endeavors, sir. Well, he seems like a cool guy. Back then, are you? With all your limbs and a tail to tell, I'll wager. Exposition, exposition, exposition. Fishbacks. And there I was thinking you'd only have to crack a pirate's skull or 3. 7 hours. You turn your back for 5 bloody minutes and the scaly bastards have set up shop on your bleeding doorstep. Still, sounds like you left them in pieces. So I don't suppose they'll be carrying out whatever mischief they was planning. Unless they's planning on feeding themselves to the fauna of Sastasha, of course. And he wrote, All's well that ends well. On behalf of Limsa, I thank you for shedding some light on this mystery. You have lived up to your reputation, and I couldn't ask for no more than that. Now, I'll bet you're dying for a rest, but in case you're not, I was wondering if you might be interested in taking on another job. Just so happens that I've had a request from our sister guild in Gridania, you see. Seems the forest folk are in need of a venture what can get things done. For him to ask for help like this, you can bet the task won't be no skip to a sunny glade, but after the way you dealt with our fishback infestation, I doubt it's anything you can't handle. Give us a shout when you're ready, and I'll lay it out for you. Alright, we are done. Sastasha Seagrot has been conquered. So that's actually the next quest is going to lead us to the next dungeon, and that's the one in the forest, in the Black Shroud. But we're not going to get that for now. We're actually going to let Ellion rest up. And also, let's repair this gear. There we go. And we're going to go, actually, to the inn room for him to get some sleep. And then next episode will be devoted to the next leg of the journey. I think it'll be the next dungeon. I think I'll be able to, like, get the little bit of exposition and storyline out of the way and lead us into the dungeon. That's the plan, anyway. So for now, we're going to let you go. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Some storytelling, some dungeon crawling, and stuff like that. And I think that was, I had fun with that. So hopefully you did too, and I will see you next time. So, for now, that's it for me. Bye-bye.